So in my opinion, I believe that Algorand is undervalued, and this video, I'm going to explain why. It's had a kind of cycle in the past. It came out at not a great time. It mid-cycle essentially, but not with as many developments. It got a little bit of hype, but not much. There's a lot of things built now that is going to be hugely important. Now, it's a very, very efficient blockchain that's fast. It's cheap to use, and it's also very, very easy to use, right? Which is huge. It can also handle a lot of monies. The ICO element of it kind of creates a little bit of a problem with the SEC. It has already been dubbed a security twice by them, which is kind of irritating. In terms of the founders, by the way, you need to Google this Chad, basically. Knows his stuff, especially the early foundations of cryptography. Wow. Anyways, let's talk about the website. Zero forks, zero downtime, the circulating supply, the active addresses, all that kind of good stuff. The world's most scalable blockchain ecosystem, and it probably is going to stack up very nicely versus the likes of Ethereum, which we all know is a pain in the arse. It is fast. I've used this and I've been in the ecosystem a couple of, well, basically about 8 to 12 weeks now, give or take, utilizing what I know through the market of other ecosystems. And I'll be honest here, impressed. Now, I don't hold much Algorand. Hold a small amount, a Patreon portfolio, right? For a bit of fun. It's the only one that's in the negative. Yeah, pumping my bags, but I'm not really, it's going to be very, very hard to do that. However, there seems to be something here that makes me think that this, at some point in its next couple of years, is going to probably do something hopefully good. Technology is brilliant here. Once the masses use it, and we're going to go through it in this video in terms of what's already here, you might well find a lot of people come from other ecosystems onto here and probably stick around because it's pretty good, right? So, as you can see on the screen, some amazing buzzwords here, right? But there's already existing projects and products here that can be used. Tinyman for a decentralized DEX. Forks Finance for DeFi, right? You've also got, Vestige for other bits and pieces, data and stuff like that. There's a lot here. I've not been in all of them, right? However, the wallet, let's go to the wallet first. The main wallet here. By far one of the best wallets I've used. And I've said this on a previous video in terms of an exit plan. This has absolutely blown my balls, right? Literally tickled them. Because when you use likes of MetaMask, even Nova Wallet on Polkadot or Oasis Wallet for freaking Rose, right? This by far is the cleanest, the easiest. It's all in-house. You could probably argue it very, very similar to Phantom Wallet on Solana, right? Really, really nice. You can see secure and decentralized. You can buy, send, and store. That's huge. You got the NFT side of it. Instant swaps. And yes, it is instant swap. And you can use your ledger with it. It works. It is by far, and I know I'm getting hard on about wallet, unbelievably good. And this is the infrastructure of a coin that is there and ready to go, right? Another side of it, and I mentioned it before, you've got Tinyman, which is essentially like, your Uniswap and stuff like that. You got swaps, pools, all that kind of stuff. Piece of piss to use. This is brilliant. And again, we talk about Algorand, you talk about other assets. As you know, I'm an investor in Poker Gold. That is what brought me to this ecosystem, right? And if you're looking at buying certain things, at the end of the day, you can see certain things. The thing with all this is obviously liquidity and all that kind of stuff. And one thing about Poker Gold is it has a ton of it. If you swap it around, by the way, price kind of situation. If you're going to swap it and sell it, the price negative on it, pretty good considering the amount of liquidity. Imagine trying to dump that much of a coin that is like 2.5 million, and that is crazy, right? So really, really good that you can do. Obviously, you got the pools as well for the liquidity, all that kind of stuff, farming rewards, and obviously the analytics. You can see what is happening. Works. It works very well. Another one, as I say, one of the main ones here is probably Forks Finance, which is, ultimately I've never really played much with it, but they seem to only want to have the best on here, which is kind of huge in itself. This is the one for any project on Algorand to try and get onto. But as I say, it's all here. Vestige as well. So let's talk about this. This is kind of like Dex Scanner in a way, where you can look at all your coins and all that kind of good stuff. There's a lot here, and you can see on the popular side of it, there's a lot. Biggest gainers, all that kind of stuff. You can see it all here, right? If you go into the most active, all here. So let's say, for example, Poker Gold. You can see the information. It's all here for you to have a look at, how many views and stuff it's getting, all that kind of good stuff. And again, we talk about random coins here. Seals. Probably going to be there. You're probably going to die completely because look at the state of it. But, one of those situations is there could be shitcoin seasons all over this at any point, which is pretty savage. If you want to look at the best TVLs, you can ultimately see them there. Kind of makes more sense looking at that side of it. So yeah, pretty excited about what could be happening. But when you look at the price, this is the thing. You got all the infrastructure there, all of it, right there. And the price looks like that. And when we talk about why Solana recently did very well, look at Bonk. AVAX had a couple of shit coins on it recently, did very, very well. It happens. Even Polkadot had little inscriptions and dot ordinals, whatever they're called. It went crazy. Now, I'm not saying that shit coins are going to make everything go up, and they're not. But the infrastructure is there if projects want to build on it, utilize it, and leverage what's there. It's not bad. It really isn't bad. And when we start talking about the wallet and the infrastructure there and the cheap of the fees and all that kind of good stuff, it kind of makes sense, in all fairness, in terms of why people would maybe look to do that versus existing projects, right? Existing ecosystems, as you would so speak. Now, when we look at this has hardly moved. And I said it before, came out at a really shit time. Had one cycle in it where, let's be honest here, it didn't really have nowhere near as much technology as what it has now. It's had a lot of development going on. It's been doing very well. Apart from the SEC element, kind of ruined it a little bit. But ultimately, there's a lot of running here, a lot of risk to reward here. It doesn't have to break all-time high to make money here, right? $1.62. That's still a really decent gain, considering it's in the top 50 in the market capitalization. So I would definitely be looking at this. The other side of it as well, the ALGO BTC pair, if I can spell it right, is also crazy. Analyzed it before. There's a huge amount of upside potentially here. So as much as I like to waffle about stuff and say certain things, this by far has been one of the more surprising things that I've came across in the last couple of weeks. I would never have had Algorand in anywhere near my fucking thoughts. I wouldn't, until I started playing with it and looking at it and seeing what was happening. When we look at the ALGO ecosystem here, there's a lot happening. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? It feels like this is sitting there waiting for something to happen. My personal opinion on that. It's there. But anyways, down to you. Not financial advice. As I say, disclaimer, do hold a very, very small amount. I hold 4,000 in my Patreon earner portfolio. I think it might do all right, even though it's been in the red since I bought it.